Boom, boom. This is Dave, Guru Dave. No, no, not really. This is Dave, and he's here today talking to Carla. Carla, tell us what your musical names are, or how do we see you
Yeah.
from a musical perspective?
Yeah, well, hi. Thanks for having me. My DJ name or my music name is Kundalini Karla.
Okay. How does that like that's a most of the world is sort of monosyllabic. How do all those syllables, do they spell it, or do they get what it is? And
Yeah, so Kundalini is life force energy,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I had a full-blown awakening experience, like a spiritual experience through meditation and life events, early 2024, and it radically changed my life. I was already spiritual, but Kundalini's been like a fire, like burning up what doesn't serve, and it's really ignited my, what actually matters in life. And I feel like Kundalini brought music back into my life. So when I did a DJ competition last year. When I first did that, I just had my name as Carla Herschel Music. I didn't know where it would go. I didn't know what my vibe would be. And as I started to develop myself as an artist or learn more about myself, I realized how important it was to create music that I love, but that it had this uplifting element to it, that it, was conscious or intentional or purposeful. And then other people started calling me Kundalini Karla. So I was like, I'm just going
It's
to claim
stuck.
it, own it,
It's
and
stuck.
stuff.
How do they, I'm a mad, stupid Aussie male who likes to abbreviate stuff. Do they abbreviate into KK or something or other, or any abbreviations get through, or is it they
No,
go
I
through that
haven't had
process?
that yet. I mean, people just call me Karla, like face to face, but Kundalini Karla is the DJ name or the music name.
Okay. Okay. Have you always wanted to be an artist? Like, songwriting's could be a skill you develop, but it's probably predisposed for some people, I think. So have you always wanted to be an artist and a songwriter?
Yes and no. So I have always wanted to be an artist in a sense, but now that music is back in my life, I realized that I had actually let it go completely. I wasn't pursuing being an artist. So when I was young, I loved to sing. I did do music. I played flute. I was in the school orchestra. I then studied musical theatre. So I have a diploma in theatre, so I could sing, dance, act, and I loved that. But I really struggled in that industry. I did well. I did well in auditions and things, and I got callbacks, but it just never quite clicked. And I didn't like how competitive it was. But I know now I also do not like playing a set character all the time. And that's what theatre is, musical theatre.
Night after
Um,
night after night after night, sometimes for, some shows
yeah.
for,
And
a long time.
yeah, and I always felt like bad about myself or that I wasn't good enough because my voice, I am talented, but like my voice, I just couldn't sing it exactly the same every single day for months. So I let that go thinking I kind of wasn't quite good enough, wasn't right for that industry. Took a whole different path into fitness and then business and then mindset and now healing work. But through my then, I guess, business journey, I realized that that was artistic as well because I would create offers, I would create programs, I would help people, I would do what I wanted to do, I'd create artwork for the programs. So even though I wasn't painting with a brush or like writing songs, I actually remember being like, oh, I'm actually really artistic. Like my work is artistic. And now that music has, yeah, come back, I feel now like I understand what art is and what true art is, like a unique expression of me being authentic. And sometimes I have words come through me that I write down. I'm like, oh, that could be a song, that could be poetry. Um, and I find like that's art that resonates with me the most when it's a soul level expression. Like I don't know the names of many artists or I don't really know the most popular DJs at the moment either, but I know what I like and like that's art.
Okay, so give us a bit of a rundown of the journey insofar as um, you came back to music, you started to write. Did you perform? How long ago, and what sort of performances in between? Did you take a hiatus? Did you have some success, or are you building the success? Give us a bit of an understanding of what that musical journey's been.
Yeah, so I let go of musical theater like 2019, which now doesn't even feel that long ago. That's when I fully was like, I'm done with auditions. I, quit my agency. I'm done with that.
Almost the start of COVID.
Yeah, almost. So then come 2020 when we were actually in lockdowns, I was bored. It felt weird not to have a musical instrument because like I didn't play flute anymore. I didn't really want to sing anymore. I was tired of that and tired of being so technical with my voice. And at the time, I had been going to like every single festival ever. So I was like, well, I guess I'll learn to DJ. So had a couple of DJ lessons. That was fun. I really didn't think anything of it. And then it was last year I created like time and space and flow in my life, in my work. And so I was like, oh, I'll do this DJ competition for fun. This could be fun, like whatever. Got into the competition, found out it was a big deal and a big commitment. So took it seriously, and I felt like all this manifestation energy coming through. And at first I was like, oh, am I actually going to do this and like get work in this? And I thought, well, why would I say no to this energy that's coming through? So then I, made a music Instagram. I was like, okay, I'll take it seriously. After the competition, I just kind of met the right people at the right time, and I did get a lot of gigs. And I felt that my detachment was a really big part of that. Because the whole way through, I thought, this is fun. And I went to stuff that felt good to me. And I said no from the beginning to stuff that didn't feel right for me. So it just was in flow. I did a whole heap of gigs, learned a lot. I also threw a techno event, which we sold out. We sold 100 tickets, which was amazing. But then that techno event, it didn't continue after that, so I learned a lot then about who I actually work with and who's in integrity and what the red flags are if I'm going to do that work. Then I had a little bit of a break, like a few weeks. Then I was asked to DJ for New Year's Eve at Crown Casino, which is a bit of a big deal. Like that was a really good sign for me. And now we're in March and I've had a bit of a break since then. I've been traveling and I am now like really just getting to know my own music collection and what kind of sound I want to curate. And last year, I also got into a music production course for free. It was the very first time this course was running in a group, so I was really lucky. Braden Zerkler was the music production teacher. And so I've learned the absolute basics of production, but I felt, okay, I need to actually know my music. Where am I going? Why am I playing? What sounds do I want to make? So I've just been getting to know my own music, and then I'll continue to learn to produce. So production's something I want to do, but that's in its infancy,
Okay, how would you describe your sound?
My sound, I am learning that like I really love acid techno or more classic techno, and I really, really love spiritual music, if it's world music, organic house, more tribal music. So I like to have elements of that in my techno sound, but overall it's techno. I want my music to be pumping and fun. Yeah, does that describe it? So it's mostly techno.
When you say that, I was with in my journey, I was with a chanter. She was a PhD and all that, but she was into the chanting and that spiritual sort of sense in Adelaide. And we had a decent relationship for a couple of years, and we went up and did some of the festivals that were all about. They were unbelievable. Diva Pramal and Matan. Do you know those guys? Diva Pramal
No.
and Matan, they're huge. They're big world people. They get up there and but there's other people as well. But they're like you talk to them and like you moved and all this sort of stuff. So do you do any of that with your music? Like you know, you're talking about the Kundalini stuff. Do you do any of that, getting people together and sort of engaging them, and rather than performing to them, sort of, working with them a bit like,
Mm,
because you're a trainer, you're used to having people that you work with in the crew, and because you're, a
like a
healer,
healer.
yeah,
Yeah.
you could do your music in front of a group that, and in a connected way, like it was almost a lesson.
Yeah. Well, what I have done is ecstatic dance. So I've done this a few times before where they were really small and I didn't like take it that seriously. But last year I did an ecstatic dance with a friend, Tinika Shriya, who does light language. And our intention was just to bring people more into joy. And this again is it's really what I love doing, like bringing together the intention, like it's spiritual, it's healing, it's fun, but also to have like fun pumping music. It doesn't have to all be like holding hands in a circle healing something. So yeah, we did an ecstatic dance and I DJ'd for that. And yeah, I started slow and like feeling, getting into the body with the healing sounds, and then built it up expressive, big movements, fun, pumping, like some techno in there and different sounds. So I love that. In terms of if I would make like chanting music or something like that, it's a possibility. I'm a bit overwhelmed with, how many directions I can go.
Yeah,
Like I said, I'm feeling to start with, it will be kind of fun pumping techno. But I want to have intentional lyrics in there. So there could
yep,
be
yep.
chanting, there could be affirmations for sure.
Well, why do you think fans resonate? Why have they turned up? Why are you getting the Crown gig and all that sort of stuff? What is it that people are saying? Oh, I like this person.
Mm. Well, I guess I think it's because I'm authentic and I am there for the music 100%. And I
So so
keep
you so
saying
you,
that.
so so you turn up. You're not you're
Yeah,
not you're not looking at the fifth row saying they're not getting in while you're performing. You're not thinking about what you're going to say in between the first and second song. You don't have get your phones out and send me, so that I get 100 more, fans and all this sort of stuff. You're not constructing anything in the whole process. You're just turning up and performing, and they
yeah,
get it. Okay.
yeah. I think it's that simple. Like I love the music and I want to bring people together for music. I don't mind if it's in a bar or club, but I'm not like, please put me in the biggest club in Melbourne. Like, I don't care. I
It
just want to
doesn't
play
matter.
music that I love and people can feel that.
Okay, which artist music, because you've obviously come from some different places in the last, 5, 10 years, which artist music and or performance, past or present, inspired you throughout, maybe even inspires you today?
Mm. One of the best sets I've ever seen was Macioplex at Pitch. I believe it was 2018. And I remember that set just changed my life. You see so many DJs and some you just don't remember, which is fine. It's part of it. But that Macioplex set, it was just to me, the perfect combination of feeling and techno. So you were lost in it, but it meant something. And what I know now is some other DJs or any artists, like you feel what they're feeling because it's all energy. And some DJs, they can take you to a really dark place. And
Mm.
that's okay sometimes. But that Macioplex, I feel like it showed me a different way of creating electronic music. But I also love like Rufus Du Sol, Ben Boma, Grab, Snow Raven, who is a more spiritual artist, or she's like an indigenous artist. Um, Snatnam Cow. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah,
She's
yeah, yeah.
spiritual as well, but yeah, there's so much
What, a-
beautiful music
what,
out there.
what about the super commercial guys like Guetta and all that sort of stuff? Do you get that as well, or is that too syrupy?
I like David Guetta, and I have his old music from when I was younger. So I have respect for them, especially Ministry of Sound. I used to listen to them all the time. That's like my dance throwback stuff. But I don't play that much of it now, I guess. But I will just say the presets, they changed my life. When the presets My People came out, I think I was in year 10, like 2010. I remember listening to it. It's like, da, na, 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 and I was like, who are these people? Like, and I feel like they got me into dance music. So major shout out to the presets.
Cool, cool. Okay, now your music, what singles, what albums, what EPs, what's taken place, and what's present, what's happening right now.
So I haven't released anything myself yet. Like I'm still learning to produce. I did sing on a track a few years ago, like 10 years ago. The artist was called Some Lanky. So yeah, that song exists somewhere. But yeah, I am just in the infancy. I'm literally just piecing sounds together right now and seeing what I like. Uh, but what I've found, I've had a lot of people tell me to like release music every 6 weeks, like jump on that momentum, use the audience after the competition, or this is how to do it. And that is simply not how I function. I feel like the art will come through me when it's ready. And I know, say, the process I've had recently of getting to know my music collection, I know that I'm developing the sound and that when I'm ready, like it's going to come through. So I
Yeah,
have
I
no
think
dates or anything
I
for
think
you at this point.
the hard thing that, like we spoke about a little bit before we recorded, but the hard thing that the Taoists have it. They say, "Let life take you where it takes you," and so you sort of sit back and people think that there's only one outcome, and I've got to find it, and that's what takes place. When it's just completely changing all the time, it's a sliding door all the time, and so when it's right, it'll sort of happen, and you've got to
Mm,
some degree it's like I find it's like warriors have shaky knees when they walk into battle. So they're always the best warriors are always nervous. And so that's the same as most of us consciously. We've got this full belief in what we're doing, but there's a little bit of nervousness in sort of saying, there's the human side of it that's sort of saying, am I just a Fruit Loop? Is this fair income or whatever? And so
yeah.
you got to keep moving forward in that scenario. So you don't have any goals for actually releasing music or collaborating to release music or anything like that in terms of a soft goal? Like I wouldn't mind bringing something out in the next year and
Yeah.
testing it and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I want to have at least one song out by the end of this year. Because I know I don't want to be perfectionistic. Once I start and get something together, I want to put it out. My music collection and the way that I've organized it was like a full-time job for the last 3 months. So now that's done.
Yeah,
Production's
yeah.
actually an option.
I think with 100,000 songs coming out every day on Spotify, there's lots of good music. So in today's world, in the TikTok world, music just doesn't cut it on its own. So you've got to
Mm,
have something taking place. So if you're not bringing out music that could be popular, it's like it's not the same traditional. You've got to find your place, and then your place will go viral because it's your place. And if viral's 10 people or 10 million, that's your viral sort of connect. So
yeah.
that's great. Okay, so you've got this. We've got Ripe coming up.
Yes.
How did you connect up with Kat and Ripe, and what are you looking forward to with this big Ripe event coming up?
Yeah. Very excited for this Ripe event. So I actually met Kat at Seven Sisters Festival, which is a spiritual, like all women's festival. We both did the open mic. I read a poem and she did a rap. And I came up to her after and I just said, that was so good. Like, I just felt I should introduce myself. I just respected the energy that she had on stage. It was so real. And we just got along really well. And then she asked me, they had another DJ pull out. She asked me to DJ for Miss Ripe, which was raising awareness for domestic violence. And I said, yeah, of
Of
course.
course, of course.
Yeah, and it was so fun because I don't typically, I'm not really in the hip hop community, so I felt um, really blessed that she would trust me to be in that space, even though I was just doing essentially backing tracks for the artists. But it was special to be there and see the community that Kat's created and like with the other people that are involved. Anyway, so that was amazing. She's asked me to come back, and this time I get to play techno. So Riot Fest this Saturday. I've had time to
At
prepare this
at
time
at this Saturday
at 1 p.m.
at where?
Oh, at the Vineyard in St
Where's the
Kilda.
vineyard in St Kilda? If I was going to St Kilda, how would I find it? Is it down by the beach? Is it in, Fitzroy Street? Where's the vineyard?
Oh,
Just for people that are it's down anyhow. It's down by the beach. It's all right. Sorry, it's
yeah.
down by Ackland Street. It's down near
It's near
Ackland
the
Street and
tram.
around that. Yeah, Ackland Street round. Okay, so go on. So, have you performed with these people before, or this is the first time you're performing with them?
Yeah, well, I've performed at the Vineyard before when they did Miss Ripe, the
Oh, okay,
fundraiser.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I know the venue, know the people, but there are new artists on this lineup. It's also co-hosted with Burnt Butter, and I think they're responsible for the techno side of things. So it's two groups coming together, which is very cool.
Very cool. Very cool. If I was 40 years younger, I'd probably come down myself. Uh,
Well,
no, it's not
everybody's
quite.
welcome.
It's
So,
not.
you
It's
know,
not. It's not quite. It's not quite that bad. But the old doof after a while, when you've got old bones, and
yeah.
it's okay. What other tours and events have you got? Have you got some other tours and events coming up?
No, I don't have anything else confirmed at the moment. I really want to do my own another ecstatic dance soon, but it has to be at the right time. So I'm sort of waiting for that sign to put it on. But I'll also be traveling again. I'll be in Upper New South Wales in May. So I feel like some things are going to pop up
Traveling
over that.
with traveling with
Oh,
doing
well,
what?
I'm
Just
just staying
sorry,
there.
you've gone dead. Is that me or is that you?
Um, it
Hang
shouldn't
on.
be me.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
That's right. Can you hear me?
Hang on. Hang on.
Could be the headphones.
It is.
Uh,
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. The headphones started to play music of some sort, and I
Oh,
thought that's not very good. I thought, sorry, I had to wipe the noggin.
that's all
Okay,
right.
just to show that I had hair 20 years ago, 40 years ago. So what are you going up in New South Wales for?
So I'm actually subletting for a friend, but I'll be using that time as like a sabbatical to focus on creating music.
Okay, okay. I had a thought. I thought, um, what you probably, I thought an idea for you, especially in this TikTok age, is to teach people to make music because there's probably a lot of people out there that are sort of creative and working their way through this sort of process that you've worked your way through, but
Mm,
you've got a pretty good angle, a pretty good foundation in terms of who you are and what you're about. And most people, when they get into this creative stage, they deal with a lot of new artists, and a lot of them have no idea. They'll turn up and they'll say, I want your help. Great. What are you after? Oh, I want you to give me 1,000 views and blah, 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 blah. And I say, listen, champ, if you get 1,000 views with what you got at the moment, 990 of them will be negative advertisers. So you don't want 1,000 views at all. But they get into this mode where all that they have to do is get numbers and they're going to have a career and they're not connected to themselves at all. And so it'd be cool to have a space where someone really got the music and understood the music and was able to bring people back from that to their authentic creative part rather than some other part. So just a suggestion. You don't have
mm.
to deal with it. You can just
No, I love that.
have a think about it because it's a for the people that are you know Joan of Arc. Powerful people do powerful things.
Mm,
All they've got to do is move into the space, and then everything. It's like the laws of attraction say, luck is purely the absence of doubt. So if you move into your space with no doubt, everything opens up. It's another
I, s-
Dispenza thing about creating your own world.
I so resonate with that. Yeah, I'd love to do like artist development, and because I work as a healer, like I understand
Yes.
you have to come first because if you're putting out stuff that you don't resonate with, it's not going to go anywhere if it's not you. But I definitely feel a little vulnerable because even though I understand music, like music production is, I'm just learning the basics,
But
so
but 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 you're but the way I see it is um, the people get mentors and they get collaborators that are trusted, and they don't need to know the information, because there are some people that are going to look. Think about a leader of a company. He's just good at his administrative processes. He doesn't know anything about what's taking place, and he puts all the people together to get this thing achieved. And so you've got that sort of spiritual feel. I can feel that, and you're intelligent, and you've got a presence, and so if you brought some of these people together, they could solve the lack of knowledge in different areas, and they'd want to work with you because of the energy. Forget about that. Once they got past their thoughts, they'd feel this internal sort of combustion. And so, and I think it would have much the same as what I was saying to you before about our stuff. Getting that influence and then influencing in that sort of way is, I think music could be a part of it, but there'd be a lot more as well. And I think that, there's a potential for that taking place. And it might not be in individual performance. It might be that you collaborate with these people and you do collaborative performances where you come together to do something. And, that could be a powerful sort of, anyhow, just a suggestion.
Yeah, no, it feels really good to me. I
That's what I
resonate.
felt. Okay, if you could perform with any music artist, alive or dead, and the dead ones would be alive when you were performing with them, obviously, who would you choose and why?
Oh, any artist.
Elvis, Freddie, Eminem,
Hmm.
Aretha.
I'm gonna.
Excuse me one sec. It might be an urgent. Sorry.
That's okay.
Terry, I'm on the phone. I'm on Zoom at the moment, so give me a few minutes. Another half an hour. Got to go. See ya. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I just in case it was a family thing. Go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say Snow Raven. She is alive now, but I love what she does. It's radically authentic. It's powerful. It is shamanic. It moves you, and I feel like if I were to work with her now, it would just be incredible.
Snow Raisin, as in SNOW Raisin, or
Snow Raven,
Snow
Raven,
Raven. So
like the bird.
SNOW Raven.
Yes.
Oh, cool, 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 cool. That's good. That's good. All right. Long-term aspirations. Obviously, we just spoke about them because you're going to be this powerful, billion follower, and you're going to bring me up on stage and you say, this guy made the suggestion last week, and
Yep.
it took me a week to get these billion followers, and I just want to slap his hand.
I'm open to it. My aspirations, I want to create bodies of work. So I'd love to create, albums at some point. I mean, it will happen. I already know it's done, like I know it will happen at the right time. So albums, I'd love to DJ like internationally. I'd love to do ecstatic dance, but I'd love to play at festivals like Burning Man.
Ibiza, or is it that sort of stuff, like the major sort of party sort of places, or
Yeah, I want to be in both spaces, like the spiritual spaces, which is kind of Burning Man. I know it's got a bit of
yeah.
a tainted reputation now, but an example.
Yeah.
But I'd also love to do Ibiza and all of that. I just feel I've been in the fully spiritual spaces and they are also the same. They're exactly the same. It's all the same.
It's all
So
the same. Well, everything's all the same. It's just
yeah,
how people perceive it and all that sort of stuff.
yeah. So I want to be in both. And I definitely do love working with artists, and especially as a healer. Like I want to do more than just make my own music. Um, yeah, artist development. Obviously, my healing work. I have my own podcast. Yeah, there's a lot I want to do. I would love to
Yeah.
live internationally and be fluent in multiple languages. So, it'll all come.
Well, then do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
What piece of advice would you give to an artist starting out, having seen what you've seen so far with the clear eyes that you have and all the difficulties that the world presents at the moment? What would you suggest to anyone wanting to start a music career?
Mm. just do you and create what you want to create, and do whatever you listen to, whatever you engage with, whatever feels good to you. Just do you. Like, go on channel, don't worry about anyone else. It doesn't matter what's popular now, it doesn't matter what's making waves, it doesn't matter who was famous or who came before you. Like, just do what you like, because if you're in the joy frequency, people are going to feel that. They will resonate.
And you might change over time, but do the you that you are now and let it change into the you that you will be. So
Absolutely.
don't worry about finding out who you are, because who you are is who you are today.
Yeah.
So even if you're not there, that's enough. That's where you need to be today, is here. And then and I would also just suggest work hard. Keep
Work
turning,
hard.
keep performing, keep engaging with an audience. Because if you keep engaging with an audience, you're going to learn more about how to engage with an audience. And at the end of the day, that's all that this game is about, is engaging with an audience. Making music and making, getting awards and all that sort of stuff isn't, no one values that at all. They just value with what the audience does. And in saying that, what's the best thing about performing to a live audience?
The energy. What I like the most, when I perform, I actually protect my energy in a way where I say this is my energy and my expression, but everybody else is having their own experience. So I'm not being like, please like my music, please dance. I'm not doing that at all. I say this is what I love, and then it's just communication with the audience. I
That's
feel, yeah, like I can feel when they want to go a little bit harder, or sometimes I'm like, oh, you know what? They want me to throw in a disco track. Okay, like we're vibing, we're
well,
jamming in that way. I love that.
if I could just translate that, that's what we call service. Because service is actually producing for the party that you're serving that party. And the tip for all the people listening to this is that when you serve, you get your outcome every time.
Yeah.
Because it's in the service you get your outcome, not in the receipt that comes back from the service, the payoff. So your payoff is already achieved once you've served 100% of the time. That's why people who serve smile all the time, because they're always getting their payoff. That's my
Yeah, and I'd love to add to that, like it being of service, but you're not just trying to make other people happy.
no,
I
not,
find,
not
yeah,
sycophantically, like you're having values and making sure that your values are being met. So service isn't just about doing what the other party wants if it's not consistent with, who you are.
yeah, yeah. So it's like that dance between this is what I love and this is what I can feel is going to bring joy. Yeah, I love that.
Okay. What's the craziest thing you've ever done?
Oh, craziest thing I've ever done?
I'm ready to cut this out if the police are listening.
I'm like, some of that's not legal.
I keep on waiting for someone to say, "Oh, these people, these neighbors gave me the shit, so I killed them and I buried them in the backyard, and now I've got a smell coming out." No, I'm keep on waiting for
Yeah.
something stupid.
I mean, I have done crazy stuff that's like, not legal or whatever, but I have done so much healing now that it's like, oh, that's all an important part of my journey. And I don't feel any
No,
shame, and I've
no.
spoken about it all. But what I actually feel is crazy is the way that I've changed my life path. So I don't know if that sounds really tame, but I just do not agree with the conditioning of society saying you have to work hard, you have to get money first, do art later. I do not agree with that. And I used to have a big business that I had created, and it was making a heap of money. And I just thought, this is fucked. This is not how I want to live. And I was under the impression then if I made a lot of money, then I could do what I wanted to do. But I realized in doing all this stuff I didn't enjoy, I was actually locked in to that way of being. So it took so much courage and strength to let that go, and the consistent healing that I've had to do, like challenging family dynamics, generational trauma, like limitations, projections, all those things, to now live as I do, like as a healer and intuitive, to make music, to have space for that, for expression, to feel safe speaking my truth, creating something authentic, to even feel like I'm not being rushed in my art. that's the craziest thing I've ever done.
That's fantastic. I was a pawnbroker for 20 years and I was charging people 10% interest a week.
Oh, wow.
500% a year. And they liked me because I was also this guy inside, but I was sort of damaged all the way through and was sort of trying to get all sorts of things from power and attention and all this sort of stuff as I was lost. So giving that away and I did, I just walked away from it it's a big change. But what people have to understand, and generally when you do give that away, and I'm sure you probably went through this place, you go through the desert because basically you're trying to work out who you are, and if I'm not that, who am I? And that can be a pretty soulless place for a while until you work it out. And Louise
Mm,
says, create the vacuum and then refill it. And so basically now what you've done is you've started to refill your life over the last couple of years with exactly what you want from that place where you have a good understanding of what your values are and who you are. And all power
mm,
to you. I
yeah,
can't help but think, um, in one sense at 30, and not that age is important, like we said, thousands of lives and that, but I can't help but think that, knowing what I went through and what probably most people go through, that you're going to have a million lives from here sort of thing. There's going to be
yeah,
so many things, and the things that you think are sort of you're on the tip of now, they're going to become so common. It's going to be, I can just see that you're going to have so much of a force potentially that what you think is a stretch now is just going to be a norm, and basically you'll just be sort of setting yourself up to create other, Kundalini Karlas,
yeah.
basically from that example. And that's exactly what if you've got the ability, then it's almost a responsibility. You've got to stand up and be whoever you are, so that those people can have a space to sort of it's not a once you under in my view, and I'll get back to this, but once you understand that it's not a measurement process and it's not an egoic process, so the comments that I make aren't feeding your ego. They're like just it's like a role. It's a responsibility. For the people that can, they do, and the people that need, they do, and everyone does something or other. And you've just got, if you're a leader, well then you just lead. It's not a hierarchy. It's a role. It's a job. You're good enough.
Hmm.
But
Just an expression.
they've given you all the skills and all the belief, and they've enabled you to have those experiences that have taken you to this place where you feel strong when you're the weakest,
Mm,
because you've got that inner power. And so that's what people need to see examples of other people that can do something and they follow in and they do their thing as a result of seeing someone else do their thing, rather than conforming to what you're saying, this finance or power or 6 years of primary school, 6 years of secondary school, university, become what dad was, take over the business. All those things are so useless in terms of a necessity.
mm,
you know so
yeah.
sorry.
No, I just love to add something quickly.
Yeah.
I don't set goals anymore, like because like I mentioned, I have desires and things I want to experience, but I no longer set the time frames or the how it's going to happen, because I'm open to what's here now, and I know all of that's coming to me. So yeah, I no longer try and control the experience. So I
No.
so relate, but I also just felt I wanted to throw in some of my tea from my background, so I am a bit more like relatable, just so people know, like, I have partied. I've done almost all the drugs before. I had a stalker at one point, which was really crazy and serious. I've almost been stabbed like 2 times. And like I've experienced a lot of trauma, like sexual assault and things like that. And I just wanted to put that out there, because when I say, oh, it's crazy that I've changed my life, like I've fully been immersed, in that culture before and my own trauma. And so for me to be like, I'm not going to live that way, that's why I'm like, that's the craziest thing I've done.
That's
Yeah.
that's that's another thing that, if you can only understand, you can only fix your golf game on the golf course. So basically, the more challenge you have, the bigger you're going to become in terms of who you are. The closer you're going to become, find out who you are. So when challenge turns up, there's an appetite for it rather than a resistance to it. And once you get
Hmm.
into that mode, therefore, then the reward is like a bit of a waste of time because I'm looking for the challenge. And so the luxury is like most conscious people don't want luxury. You know, what, go on a holiday? Forget the holiday. Here's my
Yes.
here's my holiday. And I agree with you 100%. I don't look forward to anything because I'm here now. That's all I'm interested in is here now, whatever's next, whatever's next. I plan, but in terms of looking forward, I don't use my space to be out somewhere where I'm not. I stay right here where I am, and everything that's happening is here. Everything else is a thought. And
Yeah.
you can think about chocolate, but it's better eating it. You can think you can fly, jump off the roof and just see whether you can or not. So thoughts are very dangerous. So try and I do a lot of non-thinking, and basically I make heaps of decisions all day long. So it's not about, this is like you've got to be a bit lateral in this discussion because words have limitations. But I agree with you 100% what you've just said. I too could go through a litany of stuff that's happened throughout the course of life that I complained about all the way through, but looking back, now I see how pivotal it was. I'm poorer now than I was because I need to be.
Me. Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it's helped, it's
I feel
helped,
you.
it's helped me expand. So it's like there's 100% of space and I can take it up with rubbish. It's like a garage. I can put in rubbishy boxes or whatever. Or I can just clear it all out and put a nice, mat on the ground and stretch and dance and do all sorts of things. I can use the space whenever I need to use the space. And so, I can feel you. And I think that I'm 67, so it took me like the 50s and 60 to get here. So I just see the potential that you have, and I'm really excited about, you know, the amount of harmony that you'll be able to provide in your world. And it's an exciting thought. So
Thank you for seeing me.
I do. And that's why I like Namaste. I see you.
I keep doing it. I'm like, yes, yes.
See you. I see you. What's the one topic you can talk about for hours? Everything. Sorry. No, no.
Reality creation.
Yes, I
Yeah,
agree.
I mean everything, but reality creation. I am the creator.
Yeah.
I don't control it. Like there's a divine part of it, but we create our own reality, spirituality, expression, like the soul, why
And
we do things, intention.
and
Yeah, I
and
could talk about this.
execution is important from a human perspective, but like you were saying, most of the if you go to the gurus, they set today's routines, and whatever they don't get done, they do tomorrow. Whatever they don't get done, they get done the day after or whatever. I too create, like you say, but people have to come into your world that are sort of authentically placed to help you fill those creations. So if you just buy labor to make the creation, that's not, I don't think that's what the creation's all about, not the outcome. It's about the force that goes into this harmonic process that affects the people that come together to create and get affected by what you create. And it's that force that is the outcome, not so much the outcome that provides the outcome, in my view.
I love that because the same when I had my fitness business, I was trying to build a big physical business, tangible money, staff. I wanted an empire. Like I was trying to, and it was so hard to keep building this thing
Yes,
outside of me. And
yes.
now it's like, oh, if I build myself and my experience and who I work with and what feels good and my relationships and connections and expression and music. And now I'm like, oh, the money's gonna it's just gonna come. I
I,
don't I don't need the money right now. Who fucking cares?
doesn't
Like
matter anyway. But
it's gonna
but but
come. And it's building like the here now, the experience, yeah, that kind of creation.
in the what was I going to say? This bloody message is going through my computer screen.
That's okay.
Um, it's just not important. It's just not
Mm,
important because basically the only thing that's important is collaborating with the moment because that exists. And so in that collaboration with the moment, my view is that love is probably the only authentic force that exists, because you're born with this nurturing, suckling mum and all this sort of situation, and you learn everything else. And so if you incorporate that love, which is predominantly authentic, which is a transmuting force, if you love everything, basically you could be creating more harmony, and more harmonic things will come into contact, etc. I do so much free work because it's like meditative. It's like when you turn up and you're saying, why am I doing this? When I could be off there doing this other stuff and building this stuff, like you were saying. I could be building the business in that way or this way or whatever. And I go in and I do this thing and I put it out, and it's for an artist and it's shared and it's part of what they're doing. And I try and make the best document that I can make, even though, I'm a general. I do the best soldier work that can be done. And it's like, that's my life. That's my relationship with self. That's my relationship with source. And we
Mm,
have these communications, etc. And we go off and we dance together, which is pretty cool.
it's beautiful.
What's the thing you like most about yourself?
Authenticity. Yeah. Radically authentic, honest. I take ownership. I'm always doing my best. Yeah, open to feedback, but boundaries. Because I'm authentic, I'm also who I am around is really important. And I feel with people that are in my life, they can feel that. And I also, like, I don't, because I'm authentic and I've done the healing work, like, I don't judge. I have, my strong boundaries, but I really understand, like, every step on the path. Yeah, I don't know, I guess authenticity.
Yeah. I think just before, I'm going to finish with some favorite questions, but just before I do, I was going to say it's oh no, I just forgot. You know what happens? You're just about to
It'll
say
come back.
it,
Yeah.
and it just sort of, it's like it means to go somewhere. I was going to say that um, everything has to happen, and you've got to allow everything to happen. And
Mm-hmm.
the challenge is when someone comes up and says she's got cancer. In some ways, I don't think poor her. I think,
Mm-hmm.
and what you're going to do with that. And people say you're not being empathic. And I understand that, because I understand that from a feeling perspective, I do empathize with your feeling, whatever your feeling is. But to some degree, I think to myself, you're in control of every feeling you've got, so you can have whatever feeling you want. So why are you having that feeling if it's not expansive and adventurous and whatever it might be, even if you're in bed, even if you're bedridden, etc. So some people get into their heads and start saying you're not reasonable, you're not being blah blah, you're not being blah blah, or people say, oh, you got to pay the rent and all this sort of stuff. And I keep on saying, no, you don't have to do anything. Live on the street, you
Yeah.
know, live nowhere, and so it's that ability. It's so freeing, and I think that that's the word, freedom. You're so free to be you all the time that nothing can happen. Everything happens. So you might be depressed or whatever takes place when you're in that, from me place. But predominantly the through me place is the thing that the through me is what the parent is. So that's where you always are, even though when you're here. So when you talk to people about being in, you know, depression, for example, you're really observing yourself in depression. So you're really
Mm-hmm.
detached from the feeling of depression, because you're watching what's taking place as it keeps on evolving and moving through. And it's such a freaky sort of place. And it's got, in my view, it's not something you can think about and decide. Think about it this way. I'll just before I go on the favors, I'll leave it with this sort of thought. What I find is it's a bit like you're a floodlight. And so basically, you start having a conversation with someone, and you've just turned up to their dark world because they're walking into walls and all that, and your floodlight clears their whole space, And they say, yes, that's what I'm after. I see that now. Of course, yes, that's yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to yeah, I see it, yeah, and authentic and be and all this sort of stuff. And then you leave. Then you put the phone down or whatever, or you leave their presence, you walk away, and the floodlight's gone. They're back in the dark again because it's
Hmm.
not part of them. What you've done is you've come in and you've sort of shined their area and they've engaged with that part of themselves that is that through me part because it's always there. Everyone's got a part of it and it's engaged and all that sort of stuff. So a bit like that, give them fish and they eat once, teach them to fish, they eat forever.
Hmm.
Your goal, therefore, in my view, is to help people find their light. And when they find their light, which takes generally years, it's not the sort of thing that you just switch it on and switch it off because you've got to work to it. And that's the part that people don't like because they don't want to do the work. They want a quick response TikTok.
Yeah.
But but when they get the light, like you're displaying, what happens is they're light for other people. And then they
Mm.
help other people develop the light and so on and so on. And basically we get a world that's lit rather than at the
Hmm.
moment we've got this world that's in turmoil because we've all moved down or a lot of us have moved down this social media sort of process where bad people have influenced us to believe what they're selling. And unfortunately, they've sold us some bad stuff. Anyhow, that's a big conversation for
I
another.
love it. Yeah. At the moment I'm studying human design, which is similar to astrology if people know about it.
Mhm.
And my human design is essentially to do that, like to be around people, wake them up to a certain sense, but then I move on. That's literally been my life experience.
That's perfect.
And yeah, and at the moment I actually am choosing to live nomadically. So I'm not homeless in the sense that I can live with my
I know,
parents
I get
somewhere.
it. I get it 100%. I
But
understand
yeah,
100%. It's
choosing to
almost
live
necessary.
nomadically and just trust.
It's almost necessary because
Yes,
basically that's who we are. We're nomads. And as soon as you start connecting to a place or something, it's a limitation.
yes,
Because
yeah,
basically you're saying, I've got to be here, or I've got to be in this comfort, or I've got to sit this way, or I like that better than this. There's no better. The whole world is trying to get better, better money, better house, better, more investment, more security, better partner, better looking, better, they're all looking for some other place apart from here. And the only place that exists is here.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and I found, oh, sorry,
go on.
like, so I was recently, yeah, living with my parents and I had moved out and then been sent back by the universe and I'd traveled, but I'd been sent back. Like, it had a different energy then. And I have amazing parents. They're incredibly supportive, but it was still like, when are you going to buy a house? When are you going to rent? And I was trying to play that game and like get money to a point where I could do that thing to like get that part of them off my back or whatever. And then I just, for me, realized, oh, actually, I don't want to rent right now. I don't want, I know I'll buy a house at some point. I don't want one right now. I don't care. And I just thought, I actually want to live nomadically. That's why I've done all those road trips. I actually want to just like travel with the breeze. And it's been amazing since I've accepted that about myself. And I feel now safe to do that as well, to trust like accommodation and stuff just appears for me. It's really interesting.
Abundance comes in all its forms if you're open to see all the forms that can come in. So to see
Yeah.
abundance in a financial sense is like looking at one of 100 pictures.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 100 to look at, but you're just looking at one. Whereas if you look at a gallery, you can see 100 times where people have, got the mark. And so basically, money to some degree again is just a burden. Having a house is a burden. Having
Yeah.
money, if I keep thinking to myself more and more these days that, you know, I'm sure that we'll scale with stuff and we'll make money. I will find the quickest way to give it away, like from a Buddha's perspective, because the last thing that I want is I don't want impediments to the fact that I'm turning up wherever I turn up. And I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
drag my hip and I'm going to drag my leg, and in the hard time, I'm going to scratch my way through and I'm going to turn up and I'm going to keep turning up. And there isn't any age that I'm going to get to when I stop, only when my mind stops me, if or whatever stops me, because there
Mm-hmm.
is no stop. That's the other thing about understanding. Think of life. from the perspective of lying on your back in the river and floating and letting it take you wherever it takes you. That's effortless. You could live forever on that basis. And
Mm-hmm.
you get to look at the sun and you get to look at the sides. Occasionally you drift across to the side, you just push yourself back in and you keep on floating down. As soon as you want to go to the side, that's going to take effort. As soon as you want to go back upstream, that's going to take a lot of effort. And so
Mm-hmm.
basically, instead of having all that effort, just accept where you go. And it's such a, you come into contact with, this is this quantum we're talking about, this force. You come into contact with a force, and the force is life-giving.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get money that can produce that sort of life-giving sort of principle. And that's why, mate, as far as I'm concerned, if ever you need a place to sleep or food to eat, just call me 24/7. I'll come
Thank,
pick you up. I'll drive to Sydney and pick you up and bring you back. Because
thank you.
really, that's all that there is. That's all that there is us.
Mm-hmm.
And if we all, work together to be us, then forget about politicians and all the bullshit that they carry. Us will lead.
Agreed.
Us will change the world. Not just, don't put people in place that don't have the skill. We're asking blind people to describe the sunset. That's what
Mm.
politicians are.
Yeah, it's giving our power away.
Giving
Yeah.
it the power away. All right, let's finish off with some standard, the toughest questions you're going to get for a long time. Here we
Okay.
go. Favorite album?
The Tame Impala one. What's it called? Let me check.
They had a few.
Yeah,
Another great band.
it'll pop up.
Another great band.
Tame Impala, the album Currents.
Uh-huh.
So I have the CD and I've listened to it a
Great,
million times.
great album. Favorite artist?
Mm, Lacessi at the moment. Lacessi? I think it's Lacessi.
How do you spell it?
Lacchesi.
Ah,
Techno, he's French,
I'll check them
but
out.
it's unique. I love it.
Favorite movie? This is gonna be telling.
Okay. Favorite movie. Not that one. Interstellar.
It's a great movie. That is a great
Mm,
movie. It's very feeling, sort of, moving movie.
yeah, space, presence, past,
Yeah,
future. I love it.
I'm a big Sound of Music fan. That love
Oh, beautiful.
love story. That love story. I saw it. In fact, it came out in '65, and I was 7. And I think it was about the only thing my parents took us to ever. That sort of.
Mm,
And so it was a pivotal sort of thing. Going to the movies at that stage in Vista Vision, and you're in the movie screen, and this thing, get
wow.
to the place. Favorite place to visit?
The beach. Probably here on the
Any beach?
Mornington Peninsula.
The peninsula. It's usually cold, but it's a great place to visit.
Yeah, like my safe place, happy place.
Favorite venue to play? Well, you've got to say the Vineyard, don't you? Because everyone's thinking they're going to turn up.
Yeah, the vineyard. Well, that will be amazing. But so far, actually playing at Rubik's Warehouse was really fun. They had like screens and just the full visual experience. That was awesome.
Favorite food?
Mm, passion fruit
It
and
depends.
chocolate.
It depends. What sort of chocolate? Cadbury's, obviously.
Um, Probably dark chocolate, Lint.
Really?
Yeah, but I love like milk Lint, Cadbury Lint. I actually love peanut butter Whitakers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but passion fruit and raspberries are also like I could eat them forever and ever.
When was the last time you ate McDonald's?
Oh, like 2 days ago.
Really? So you do eat
I just
McDonald's?
I just drove back from the Gold Coast actually, but I just drove back from Sydney. And this is the thing, like I vibration is everything, but sometimes I'm like, yes, I want takeaway.
That's good. I
Yeah.
drove to Adelaide one time when I was going through this, discovery period, I drove to Adelaide
Mm,
and said, I'm not going to turn on the radio. And I drove all the way across without any music, nothing. And
so
basically, I was like a kid looking out the window. Do you do that when you come back from the Gold Coast? Notice every barn, notice every building, every farm, every big sign, every this, every that. It's fantastic.
yeah, I like to look at the sky, and I have to
Guy,
be like, hang on, what's the? But I like with long drives, like you realize so much. But anyway, it's another topic.
favorite drink?
Cacao,
Cacao
which
and chocolate.
yeah, it's like cocoa, but it's unrefined. So it's like the most raw, pure form of
What does
cocoa.
it do? Does it make you regular or anything, or what's it do?
It's it's considered ceremonial, so it helps to open the heart chakra. It has a very mild caffeine effect, but it is healing, and so you can take it as a medicine. It is not psychedelic, but you can have it and meditate, or it helps you be present. And cacao's actually changed my life, so I have it most days.
Favorite person in history, apart from me.
Favorite person in history? Okay, hmm. Um, maybe. Oh, I'm like, who? Oh my God, I don't know. Maybe Jesus Christ.
Really? Are you religious?
No, not religious.
No, I don't think. I don't think. If God is love, I believe in God.
Mm,
But in terms of the whole religious sort of process, it's just, it's just, it's not here. And you can't sort of show me how it was here or what it did or anything like that. Only in someone's view of, it's like the social media people telling you if you use social media, you're going to make a lot of money. And that's going
mm,
to happen. And it's like if you believe in God, when you die, you're going to go up to heaven and be with. It's like the Middle Eastern or the other religions, Hindu or Muslim or whatever. When you sacrifice yourself, you'll go up to 50 virgins in the sky. I mean,
yeah. No, I'm not religious, but I
but
do
I'm not
think Jesus has.
disrespecting religion because there could
Yeah,
be two. But again, to everyone to their own is fine.
yeah. But you know what? Maybe Mary Magdalene, because I feel she was. Because I'm just like, I don't really connect. I don't really pay attention to like history itself. But Mary Magdalene, like bringing Christ consciousness and just in terms of awakening,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, that I'm like, that's what comes to mind.
Okay. Do you have a tattoo?
Yes, I have a full dragon tattoo on my back, and I
A
have the
full-
Ankh symbol here.
I went out with a girl one time. She had a full lion on her back, full, the whole back.
How?
Fantastic. So you got a full drag on the whole back, coloured?
Yeah, I can show this. You can see that
Oh,
part.
that's sensational. That is sensational. Did you get
Yeah,
that here or did you get that overseas?
yeah. It's by Jordan Baxter. He was in Richmond, Melbourne, but he's now in Texas or something.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
he's
had
good.
it done properly, and it
No,
came to
he's good.
me.
It looks
Yeah,
good. It looks really good. And what was
thank
the one you had in the front? Don't show
the
it.
Ankh symbol. It's here. Yeah, the
Cool.
Ankh symbol's an Egyptian symbol.
All right, we're just about done. I wanted to ask you though, obviously you meditate every day.
Yeah, most days.
Most days? What do you mean most days?
Yeah, well, I
They
was
say they
always
say if you've got time, meditate for 15 minutes. If you haven't got time, meditate for an hour.
I used to say that as well, but I found I was getting lost in the spirit realm sometimes. So now sometimes my meditations is just feet on the earth, eyes open, like with nature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have to meditate together because I think it's just an energy thing. Because meditation is for me, it's like a I've been meditating for years and years and years. I did as soon as I came out of the pawn shop, maybe as soon as I walked out, I did Vipassana for 10 days. So I did
Mm,
10 days of silent meditation up in the Blue Mountains, which was the biggest shock to a system that you could possibly have. And then I did another 10 days with a Chinese person that came on out for his daughter's. She was graduating in Monash, and it had never been done out here. And one of my friends was a Reiki master, and she said, "Look, 10 of us are getting together, and he's going to teach us." And they had a translator for the 10 days, so he stood up front, and we did this meditation, which I still do today. That was about 15 years ago. I still do it today, and it's more around the chakra, the chi through the meridians, and it's a Chinese thing, and tongue to the top of the mouth, and all this sort of gear. And over the course of time, what I found is uh, thought can happen anytime. But when you're meditating, when I'm meditating, first of all, my body, I might wake up and knees, neck's a bit, whatever. My body changes. I do it for generally 20 minutes every morning, but it could be longer, whatever. But at least 20 minutes. And my body changes, and the thought is like pure thought, like conscious. It's like, because I've developed and it's like a non-thought place, the thought that comes in is like source thought. And because I'm observant to that from me through me situation, I can sort of differentiate between the stuff that's just me and my fears and all that sort of stuff, and the stuff that's coming through that's sort of saying, move this way, move that way, move this way, move that way. And I get so much creative benefit from that sort of thought, because it sort of usually generates something that's like insightful rather than, rewarding sort of thing. It's not like, oh, if I go left, I found the answer. Here's the gold chest sort of thing. So I would say it's probably there isn't anything more important for a person, in my view, because it's actually the stop part. It's actually the part where you actually stop and say, righto, body, stop. And if you think about presence, it's spending 2 seconds on something instead of one. That's how you become more present. You just stop for a bit longer with something and look at it a bit longer. And you stop and feel something a bit longer. And you stop and hear something a bit longer. And you stop and, quite often I have these conversations and I'll sit here and I'll say, gee, you can keep talking forever, because what happened then? What happened next? What happened next? We watch movies when next door there's probably 10 movies in the old bloke that's 70 that was in a war and all this sort of stuff. You could probably go next door and talk to him and do him great benefit, because he's probably lonely, and all the movie benefits you get out of the Netflix, and we create a better society. So there's a lot of stuff that we could do which would benefit society, but we just the money keeps on moving us to these other places. That's it, dude. That was a joy. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I shall, get it sorted and share. I really, I can't help but feel that, you'll go through changes and all that sort of stuff as you move forward. But that force, it's like it's like you can't not know what you now know. You can't unknow it. You can't not learn it. You can't decide. You could decide to go and do prostitution, and that wouldn't be a big issue, but you just can't, because it's not who you are. It's not. You could decide to do OnlyFans or go back to doing fitness, but it's not who you are anymore.
Yeah.
So you can't do it. So you're going to keep on, in my view, you're going to keep on, expanding in this process, and in that expansion, you're going to do these different things that do influence in different ways, and you're going to get fed in a whole range of different ways, even if nomadically. You're going to find yourself in India somewhere or whatever, doing something or other with people, and they're all poor, and you're living in, tin shacks and cold, and you're going to feel so alive it's ridiculous. And these are the sorts of things that I think will open up for you. And I think without putting you under pressure, I'm going to put a little watch this space.
Yeah, I feel it. No, I'm excited to create. So
Well,
I say yes to that.
I hope we can assist you in some way in the future. So keep us in mind. All right.
I will. Thank you so much.
And that's Dave. Thank you for your time, and have a great. Is it Saturday night or Friday night?
It's Saturday.
So have a great workout on Saturday night, and entertain.
Will this be out before Saturday?
I'll get it out. I'll get it out before Saturday. Yeah, I'll do it today,
Okay.
tomorrow, whatever, something like that, and I'll get it out.
can I say if people want to come, like you can use Karla Fest for a discount. So click the link in my Instagram bio, and my Instagram's Kundalini Karla. So if you want to come Saturday, I'm playing at 1 p.m. and Karla Fest for a discount.
What I'd suggest, Carla, is we'll do a little 30-second vid or something like that as well, and we'll put that out on Instagram. You can say, "I'll catch up with the interview," but also if you want to come out to blah blah blah, and we'll put that on our Instagram as well or whatever.
Cool. Okay, great. Thanks.
I'll communicate with you about that, and we'll get that sorted as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. Thanks for sharing your story, and thanks for um, feeding me in that period. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a joy for me too.
Good on you, man. Be well. Take care, and if you need anything, go out.
Will do.
Okay. Bye now.